He's physically ill.
Yeah.
He's emotionally, and then the damage you do, like.
What takes up most of your time? What's a day in your life like?
You know, I'd never really given much thought to how I would die, but dying in the place of someone I love seemed like a pretty good way to go.
If you ever been on Nick at Night, you going to jail. But look at who those men were raised by. Mm-hmm. Look at what the influence they saw.
Then Hollywood just do the drugs right in front of you and act like ain't happened. You in the middle of a goddamn meeting. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the movie with you, and then we're gonna go back.
Rappers, they're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, or until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh.
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive after, because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray.
DL Hughley has spent decades inside this industry, watching young stars get built up, broken down, and reshaped right in front of us. And recently he said something that cut straight through the usual celebrity noise. He pointed out that fame doesn't wait for someone to be ready for it. It grabs hold of kids while they're still figuring out who they are. And by the time they understand what happened, the person they used to be is already gone. That's a heavy thing to hear from someone who has spent his whole career inside show business. But if you've watched young performers change in real time, there's truth in it. Few families show that shift more publicly than the Smiths. Jaden Smith grew up inside one of the most famous households on the planet, raised by two people who built part of their brand around being open with the public, but being open isn't the same as being protected. And somewhere between the red carpets, the philosophy, lessons, and the headlines, something about how that family operated started raising real questions. Today we're breaking down what Hughley actually said, how this industry reshapes young talent in general, and where the Smith family fits into that bigger picture. To understand why Hughley's comments carry weight, you have to understand where he's coming from. This is a man who came up through the Kings of Comedy era, built a career out of saying things other people in the room were too careful to say, and has spent years sitting across from artists, executives, and insiders who actually run this business. He's not some outsider guessing at how Hollywood or the music industry works. He's been inside the room.
Those men were mentored by men who were raised by worse men. And then they thought they could do it. But what happened is the time changed. What happened is look at all those people in trouble. Look at what their upbringing are. Look at their influences are. Look who they were raised and mentored by. Look at who they were influenced by. You can't be shocked at the result.
Some of these same people, you know, you throw Diddy in there, they're the accusations allegedly about Jay-Z that we grew up on and kind of shaped our ways of living, ways of thinking are now under the magnifying glass. And why do you think, in your opinion, it's only the black heroes that are under fire when you look at the Abercrombie and Fitch group who did similar things to what Diddy's alleged for, but were in and out and they're not even talked about
Well,
now?
I think Jeffrey Epstein would argue differently. I think Roger Ailes would argue differently.
Okay.
I think there are any number of white men who've lost their position. I think it is a nation's shame. Look, slavery was always wrong, but people accepted it. What they were doing was always wrong. It's wrong to take something against somebody's will. But just because it's in vogue don't mean it's right. And I think that it's a misnomer to say that Jeffrey Epstein's in jail right now, and he's as rich and powerful as you come. And I think the comparison of they get to do it. I think
Wait, Epstein?
Epstein.
Epstein's
not Epstein. The kid from Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein, yeah.
But I think the argument is they get to do it, we should too. I think that my argument is we should all see the same kinds of sentences. We should all be the same kind of pariahs in society. But you can't tell me how serious you are about men's conduct and then vote for a rape or some adjudicated rape. You can't tell me that you're serious about that. So for that aspect, I understand. We're a nation who, when we talk about crime, like I heard, now there are people in these retailers are now raising everything to $950 in California, raising all of their items to $951, which makes it a felony. The number one cause of theft in retail isn't shoplifters, it's cashiers, it's people that work in the stock. But what they do is they trot us out. Like every time they bust one of them rings, it's always a white lady in Napa or San Diego. But we are the picture of it.
Right.
I think, and when we talk about crime, we always talk about blue-collar crimes, not white-collar crimes. Every rob, anything everywhere wouldn't add up to one act, not one Ponzi scheme, one mortgage crisis. But we are constantly the kind of face they hold up. You can't tell me you're gonna be tough on crime and then you got a court date next month. That just this shit don't work.
Over the years, Hughley has talked openly about how young rappers especially get caught in a cycle that older generations didn't face in the same way. He's pointed out how some artists write themselves into dangerous mindsets through their own lyrics, almost talking themselves into believing the worst outcomes are inevitable. He's also spoken about how young men who grew up watching friends die early start to treat death like just part of the job description, instead of something to be afraid of. When a young man connected to Pop Smoke's case showed up in an interview looking barely out of his teens, Hughley didn't dance around it. He pointed out how young that person actually looked, and how unfair it is that kids end up carrying consequences that should never have landed on someone that age in the first place. That's the lens Hughley brings to this conversation. He's not moralizing from a distance, but is someone who has watched this pattern repeat itself for decades, and he sounds tired of pretending it's normal. So how exactly does this happen? It's rarely one dramatic moment. It's usually a slow process that starts the second a young person becomes valuable to other people's bank accounts. Once a kid starts bringing in real money, whether through music, acting, or some other corner of entertainment, the adults around them start making decisions based on what protects that income, not necessarily what protects the kid. Management teams build a brand around the young artist. Labels or studios start shaping their image to fit whatever sells. Publicists control the narrative, choosing which parts of a young person's personality the public gets to see and which parts stay hidden. Somewhere in that process, a kid who was just trying to figure out who they are gets handed a finished, packaged version of themselves to perform every single day.
I mean, I couldn't steel myself to whatever she was if she was very good looking and I wanted to have intercourse with her. At a certain point, that goes away, and they at least have to be someone who you also would want to have lunch with, or, you know, can talk to before the happens, you know, this kind of thing. That's not quite spiritual, but to me it was progress. Now, maybe someday I'll have to be like, well, she's got to be on the same page with God as me.
It's not, there was always some silent conversation, like my wife, Mira, my one. I met her on October 3rd, 2013. We got married October 26, 2013. Because when she came in, 3 weeks later, this is the one that I've been with for 12 years. When she came in, I literally, that whole thunderstruck that you talk about, we were having a conversation eye to eye without speaking. And she was sitting with another gentleman at a table, having lunch. And she made it clear, without saying a word to me, that I knew eternity. I knew I'd been around for thousands of lifetimes, because when I saw her, the moment I saw her, everything, I realized I'd been looking for her for 1,000 lifetimes and didn't even know. And that's the connection, that it wasn't best in the world. It was everything that I could imagine. And at the time, I had just been accused of domestic violence from my wife, Michelle. I was done with everything. I mean, I was kicked out of Hollywood for the most part. I was canceled.
Right.
I owed $500,000 for my patent attorney, $400,000 to my divorce attorney. She went and covered everything. But it was that connection that we had.
You then had money.
Yes.
I see what you're saying.
And she cooks like crazy. And
a cook.
Stood next to me. This beautiful woman stood next to me when everybody was calling me a wife beater, and made it possible for me to do the job on Empire.
Has she got a sister?
Yes, she does.
Add in the isolation that comes with fame. Most young stars stop having normal friendships because everyone around them either wants something or is being paid to be there. They stop experiencing the regular failures and embarrassments that help most people grow up, because someone is always there to clean it up or spin it before it becomes a real consequence. By the time these young performers are old enough to look back and ask, whether any of this was actually their choice. The machine has already moved on to the next kid coming up behind them. This is the cycle Hughley keeps pointing back to, and it's the same cycle that shaped Jaden Smith long before most of us were paying attention.
I never want to feel like I have to apologize for having a perspective. And I think sometimes the entertainment apparatus wants to let people off the hook, but I think I want this show to be like if the nation got a chance to be a fly on the wall of a family having a conversation.
Was there any hesitance with that, really opening that door with the family side, not yourself?
Well, what are they going to do? They're going to tell me I can't do it? You better go home and cry in a pile of money and shut up. People always think that experiences are just solitary. Me and you could have an experience, you could have one perspective of it, and I could have another. That don't mean either one of us is lying. But why should I have to have permission from anybody to say what I saw? Like, why would I have to ask you permission for having a perspective that's divergent from yours?
What does family mean to you? I mean, you talking about family.
Everything. But not in everything in the cliche kind of way.
Right.
I think that family is a unit that you grow into like you do anything else. What my family means to me now isn't what it meant to me when I was much younger. What family means to me now, because when you're younger, you hustle to try to make it happen. You're trying to make sure everybody has what they need. But what they need is you. But you can't be. Any dude that tells you can he walk that perfect line where he is there enough and doing enough. If you there, somebody ain't eating. If you're not there, somebody said you go. But when you're a man, you have to walk those paths. Now that I'm a grandfather, I get to be more present and get to. What I've hoped is that I've instilled enough of my attributes that are positive, that my children have told them who I am, and it's set the skids for me where they love being around me. But even that, all I know is I've done what I knew to do, and now I try to do better. And if they accept it, cool. If they don't, I can understand it.
You have to have gone through a lot in life to be at such peace with where you are. When did that kind of start coming in?
Nobody gets peace. You run out of wind.
So just
thinking like, I can't. Like, I would like to chase all these bras, but I'm tired. But don't you think I want to go? Hey, you tell now? I just settle for tell me what you're gonna do.
But I'm talking from a standpoint of just like, this is me. And when were you just comfortable? Because it wasn't always like that. Like you said, when you're grinding and hustling, although you're very confident in yourself, you still kind of hear the noise. You know what I mean? I asked Kobe this question, like, what did you hear during your career that hurt you or bothered you? He's like, I heard it all, and it all hurt. I mean, so when did you become at such peace with, like, this is, like you said, I'm a red cup. They don't sell me everywhere, so where they like me, they sell a lot.
Peace is what you're forced to accept.
Okay.
Generally, peace is one strong man giving another one strong position, giving a lesser position an opportunity to pretend like they're both getting what they want. Like, I'm tired of fighting, you tired of dying. It's never equal. So my peace comes from the fact that every day I'm gonna do what I believe, and I'm willing to take what comes with it. So it's not a guarantee. It's not that I win all the time. And I ain't never been the kind of cat that prayed that God would to give me victory. I never, because I think that's an arrogant thing to go, please God, out of all these people, I'm your favorite, show me victory. I've always prayed to God to give me the best accounting I can make of myself that day.
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith didn't raise their kids quietly. For years, this family built part of their public identity around being unusually transparent. Jada hosted a show built entirely around uncomfortable conversations, pulling back the curtain on her marriage, her past relationships, and her parenting choices in front of millions of viewers. Will followed that same instinct, regularly opening up in interviews about things most celebrities would keep private.
Next several years, Jada and Will kept up the appearance of a committed married couple. They even faced a scandal when Jada had what she called an entanglement with a family friend. Neither let the public know they had already split. So I guess it was the strangest kind of revelation to realize that these two people have had separate lives. I mean, they have not called each other husband and wife in all of those years.
Except for the appearance everywhere they went.
Except for the appearances, right, including at the Oscars.
Yes.
By the way, there's a whole chunk in this book that we're going to get into in the Dateline special and also a little later here of what happened in that moment when he said, you know, get my wife's name out of your mouth, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a whole backstory there, too. But Jada is candid and honest in this book. I mean, she's saying things that she's never said, so they've kind of been living this pretend life publicly.
For years.
They knew the secret. They know it.
So now she's telling everyone.
Yeah.
But they're not divorced.
Nope.
So they're
And
separated.
they don't plan on it. They don't plan on getting divorced.
I think a lot of American families can relate, though. I think there's a lot more distance between husbands and wives than anybody ever really talks about.
Yeah.
But this sounds like something.
Yeah, that's a bigger gulf.
Yeah, it's a bigger delta.
We have a lot more on this conversation. I was fascinated by her, by the way. First time I'd sat down and spoke with her for a long period of time.
On paper, that kind of openness can look healthy. Plenty of people praise the Smiths for being willing to talk about therapy, mistakes, and emotional growth instead of hiding behind a polished public image. But openness from the parents doesn't automatically mean their children experience the same kind of stability behind closed doors. A family can talk about emotional honesty in public and still struggle with the basics of structure, boundaries, and protection in private. This matters because Jaden and his sister Willow grew up entirely inside that environment. They weren't just child stars figuring out fame, but were children whose family's entire brand depended on being seen as open, evolved, and different from a traditional household. That's a specific kind of pressure. It means even the family's private parenting decisions eventually became part of the public conversation, debated by strangers online who had opinions about how Will and Jada were raising their kids. Whatever happened inside that house, it happened with an audience watching, which is its own kind of distortion that most families never have to deal with. Will Smith actually confirmed part of this himself, and not in some old resurfaced clip. In a recent interview, he admitted that he and Jada made what he called a very serious mistake with how they raised Jaden and Willow. The approach was something they referred to as radical honesty. The idea was simple on paper. Their kids would never get punished for telling the truth, no matter what they had done.
I'm not even gonna go into the big blowout party that you had for her. You all read it here at Will. That you laid down the red carpet, you had all the friends and and then you all ended up literally, I think that was the thing that actually drove, there already was a wedge, but that 40th birthday party was the final moment when you said you were no longer gonna be in a relationship where you were trying to make her happy. So how long were you all actually separated? We never understood how long. Was it months or years?
You know, it's really funny. We never actually like officially separated. Right? What happened was we realized that it was a fantasy illusion that we could make each other happy. And we agreed that she had to make herself happy and I had to make myself happy. And then we were going to present ourselves back to the relationship already happy versus demanding that the other person fill our empty cup. You know, and
that should be the prerequisite for anybody actually getting married.
Absolutely. It's like the
come to me whole, come to me with half of your broken self and expect me to fix all the pieces.
The problem is that when you come like that, the cup actually has a hole in the bottom.
Right.
So you pour all your good love in there and it goes out onto the floor.
Because you got two broken people here.
You got two broken people and that's what we're doing, you know? So there was we just decided that you have to figure out how to be happy, you know? And it was a little bit more contentious from my side. I was like, you know what? You go figure it out. You go figure out if you can be happy and just prove to me it's even possible. Right?
Not thinking about your own self.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do me and you do you.
And you say, our time apart helped us both to discover the power of loving in freedom. We're simultaneously 100% bound together and 100% free. We agreed that we were both imperfect people doing our best to figure out how to be in this world joyfully. What does it mean to love in freedom?
The simple idea is you love in freedom with everybody except your partner, right? Your kids are gonna go off to college and you're gonna wait for them to come back, and they might not be able to come back this Christmas, and you let them go, your friends. There's a certain fluidity in your interactions, right? It's friendship versus marital prison.
It sounds progressive and like the kind of parenting philosophy that gets praised in interviews and magazine profiles. But Will himself admitted it backfired. He said the result was that his children felt free to do whatever they wanted, as long as they came back and confessed afterward. There were no real consequences attached to the choices themselves, only to the act of hiding them. Will has openly said he regrets this approach and would not recommend it to other parents. Think about what that actually means for a kid growing up with that kind of household philosophy, while also growing up famous, watched, and financially valuable to everyone around them. There was no firm structure at home, and there was an entire industry outside the home, ready to shape whoever Jaden became next. That combination, a famous household with loose boundaries and an industry hungry for the next reinvention, created the exact environment Hughley describes when he talks about how fame changes young people before they even realize it's happening to them. Anyone who has followed Jaden Smith's public life has watched him go through several very public reinventions. The kid from the Karate Kid remake grew into a teenager known mostly for unconventional fashion choices and philosophical statements online that often became internet jokes before they became serious cultural commentary. He left traditional schooling behind, started his own creative ventures, and built a public persona that seemed to shift every few years. Some of that is just normal growth, the kind anyone goes through between their teenage years and their mid-20s. But for Jaden, every version of himself played out in public, dissected by millions of strangers who had never met him. It's worth being clear here, there's a lot of speculation online about this family that simply isn't backed up by any real evidence. And responsible commentary should treat unconfirmed rumors as exactly that, unconfirmed. What we can say with confidence is that Jaden grew up inside an unusual amount of pressure, raised by famous parents who admitted their own parenting approach had real problems, all while being shaped by an industry that profits from turning young people into whatever persona sells best at the time.
What was going on? Because we were in such, we were just kind of in this very fragile place. And so now we're just super solid.
Yeah.
And so now I can actually talk about what the journey has been.
So Will talked to the New York Times or gave a statement, and this is what he says. We'll put it up on the screen. This is from the Times itself. The memoir, Will Smith said in an email, kind of woke him up. She'd lived the life more on the edge than he had realized, and that she is more resilient, clever, and compassionate than he'd understood. And this is the quote. When you've been with someone for more than half your life, he wrote, a sort of an emotional blindness sets in, and all you can do, and you can all too easily lose your sensitivity to their hidden nuances and subtle beauties. It sounds like an emotional blindness. He didn't see you. Is that kind of what it was, that he...
I think, that's so universal in relationships. He didn't see me and I didn't see him, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of had to go our separate ways to see each other. Because when you're in a relationship and you're kind of just pulling at that person to be something for you, you refuse to see them. And so we had to go our separate ways to really look at ourselves and see the blocks that we had in order to find a way back.
One part that was very sensitive with you, and it was very touching to me that you'd gone through it, but you talked about the idea that you were maybe going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
That you felt like you were not, your kids would have been better off, Will would have been better off, everyone would have been better off without you.
Yeah.
What did your kids think when they saw that part of your story told in that way?
Well, I've talked to them about it.
So they know.
Yeah, they knew. They knew before the interview came out. But I was talking to my mother the other day, and everybody knew that I was very unhappy, but just couldn't figure out why. Because everybody thought how I thought. You've got everything. What is wrong with you? Because I didn't know what was wrong with me either. Because you have to remember, during that time, no one was really talking about mental health.
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand, and nobody around me understood.
The other thing people asked me was, you talked about how you were at the brink, and then you took something, and it changed you, and it was ayahuasca.
Yeah.
For you. Ayahuasca really was...
That was the turning point.
So that in and of itself turned you from the brink of...
And I never had a thought again. Now, in saying that, ayahuasca is not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I want to be very clear about that. You have to really have someone who's very trained to guide you through that. It was a very extreme situation for me, but I swear I'm so grateful that I went through it, because in 4 days, I had 4 excruciating nights, but on the other side, I never...
And you never had a thought since then?
Never.
The title of your book is Worthy, and so today, as we sit here on this couch...
I feel worthy.
Tell me.
Yeah, I just feel so good. I've been through so much, and when you can really look at your life, and we think that life is supposed to be perfect, and when life isn't perfect, we feel like, oh, then I'm not worthy, then something's wrong with me, and that's not what it's about. We get challenged with life in order to keep building our self-worth, to keep finding our greatness, and so that's what the book is about. It's about that journey.
If you find another great love, or if Will finds another great love.
There's no finding another great love, and I think that's the point. It's like, we are in a place now that we are in a deep healing space, and we are really concentrating on healing the relationship between us.
So it may not be the divorce on paper anymore?
There's no divorce on paper.
I mean, not on paper. There might not be a divorce in theory anymore?
Yeah, no, we really have been working hard.
Oh.
See?
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
I was trying to think.
Wait.
Totally missed that on the whole. That's the whole thing.
So wait. Just so I'm 100% clear, you were divorced, not on paper, but now we might be a point where we're back together.
We are working very hard at bringing our relationship together.
Back to a marriage again.
Back to a life partnership. Yes, because here's the thing about husband-wife marriage for me, my healing process. I came into that with very specific ideas, right? Very specific ideas that were blocks to me just seeing Will as who he is. He can't be this perfect, idealized husband.
Whether every twist in his public image was fully his own choice, or partly the product of an industry molding him along the way, is exactly the kind of question Hughley's comments push us to ask. Not just about Jaden, but about every young star who grows up the same way. Step back from the Smith family for a second, and you'll see this pattern everywhere in entertainment. The industry has very little financial incentive to protect young talent from being reshaped, because reinvention sells. A new persona means new headlines, new streaming numbers, new ticket sales. The version of a young star that existed before fame, the unfiltered, unfinished version, rarely survives contact with an industry built around image and profit. Audiences play a role in this too, even if we don't like admitting it. Every time a young star's transformation gets clicks, every time we tune in to watch them stumble or reinvent themselves again, we're feeding the exact system Hughley is criticizing. His willingness to call this out, whether he's talking about rappers writing themselves into early graves or comedians who refuse to soften the truth for the sake of comfort, is rare in an industry where most people stay quiet to protect their own access. That's really what makes his recent comments land so hard. He's not attacking Jaden Smith personally, and he's not pretending to know exactly what happened behind closed doors in that family. He's pointing at something bigger, a system that takes kids before they're ready and hands them back to the public as finished products. polished, packaged, and very often disconnected from whoever they actually were before any of this started.
Diddy's a swinger. They try to call them lifestyle parties. They just swinger parties, Big Hurt. So what ended up happening was, he hanging out with this guy, his wife, and another lady. But the one lady leaves. So he called me, yeah, man, where you at, man? I come to the bar, and he makes a comment to me, hey, bro, dude looking at me kind of crazy. I said, let me tell you something, bro. He look at you like that because he want to take a bite. He want to take a bite of what? So I can't make this up, Big Hurt. So my homie gets his drink, you feel me? He walks past, this guy pats him on the Wow. This the same thing that Terry Crews said happened to him. My homie turns around, dude, grab his crotch. It's the exact same series of events Terry Crews said happened to him. They do this. Another thing they do is they put their arm around you. So there's a video of Diddy and the boxer, Gervonta Tank Davis. He keeps putting his arm around Tank Davis. And then he jumps out and grabs him and hugs him, we follow him around. That's what they do to see if he was in to participate. This is the facts, bro. So I always warn people, if you want to chase your dreams, you gotta understand, if somebody's gonna walk you into something, they're gonna want something in exchange. If they don't want to cut about what deal you getting, they're gonna want something else. This is how it go, bro. Point blank, period, clear cut. And I'm gonna say this, there's a lot of people that are famous and celebrities who double dip. I'll be harsh on these guys because HIV and AIDS has the highest numbers in the homosexual male community because during AIDS, there's a more higher chance of blood being exchanged.
Some of the emails last night and some of the things that Fergie said to Epstein, I mean, they're genuinely like Tweedledee and Tweedledum when you read what they said. Oh, please marry me. You're my favorite. It's like they would do anything for a couple of $1,000, Andrew.
Oh, it is so grabby. I was so sick. And remember, this is a convicted even when they were trying to, wheedle favours out of him, they must have known. The British Prime Minister has now urged Andrew to give evidence in the US about its links to Epstein. Is that ever going to happen?
I think that with the Prime Minister's pressure, with potentially the King's pressure, who knows if that will happen, that he should. I mean, those images, as you said, are absolutely horrific. This is someone who is in line to the British throne. And the fact that he exploited for years, or allegedly exploited, many women. I mean, we talk about why don't other sort of victims come out? A lot of people say that because Virginia Giuffre is obviously the most high-profile one.
At the end of the day, D.L. Hughley isn't saying anything that should shock anyone who has paid attention to how this industry actually operates. Young performers get pulled into a system that rewards reinvention over stability, and families like the Smiths, no matter how much they talk about emotional honesty in public, aren't immune to the same pressures that shape every other young star caught in that machine. Will Smith himself has admitted their parenting approach had real flaws. Jaden has spent his entire young adult life reinventing himself in front of an audience that never stops watching. And Hughley, someone who has spent decades inside this business, is simply naming what a lot of people in the industry already know, but rarely say out loud. So, here's the question worth sitting with. When a kid grows up famous, surrounded by an industry that profits from shaping them into whatever sells next, how much of who they become is actually their own choice? And how much of it was decided for them before they were ever old enough to understand what was happening? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.